Hi guys, this is this month's currently reading shelf. I had a bit of a disaster last month. I have to tell you, the charity shops and the green room at my work did very well out of me. I just got rid of so many books. It was unreal. I don't know why some of them I'd bought in the first place. I don't know what attracted me to them. I just know that they weren't very good. Even some that I was actually really looking forward to, I was like, this is not what I was expecting. This is not what I wanted from the book. This doesn't sound like how the blurb thought it was going to sound. I just don't know what happened. I mean, obviously you'll see at the bottom of the last month currently reading that it was like 1 star got rid of, 1 star got rid of, 1 star got rid of, 2 stars, meh. So it was just it was a bit odd. And I read a couple of other books in between as well, because I went away for a few days, and then I've had a couple of books that I needed to review coming up. I've been reading those, and I've still got a few other books from last month to read. I still have The Buried Giant by Kazuo Ishiguro. I've been putting that off and putting it off. I just honestly don't think I'm going to get on with it at all. I've still got the Christopher Riddle books as well. I'm still waiting on one more of those to come so I can like read them as a series sort of thing. And I still have the Forever House by Veronica Henry to read. They're just sitting off camera there at the moment, and I've taken them off the shelf for just now. I mean, a few that came to mind that I really didn't enjoy was 12 Years a Slave. I mean, I know it was published in 1853, but it was so dry. I couldn't read it, and I don't know if there was something about the way he was phrasing the sentences, but they just seemed awfully long. And I would be reading them and I just wasn't taking it in. I was sitting at my desk at work trying to read this book, and I could just feel my eyes closing. I work in a call centre. That's not so good if your eyes start closing when you're at work. Not that would happen ever, of course. And there was just a few others I was just like, no, this isn't for me. Give up. Move on. I've just moved all my books along. This is this month's to read list. There's at least one book which I don't remember why I got. Oh, I think I remember why I got it, but it's not the right book. There's another book that I know I didn't like his previous books. So yeah, we'll see how we get on. It's been a very long intro. I think, depending when I can get this up and edited, we're over halfway through September at the moment. This is the 18th of September, so maybe the end of September, beginning of October, currently reading list. I'll see like when I get there. But let's get going. Let's see what the first one up is, shall we? So the first one I have is This May Sound Crazy by Abigail Breslin. Now, as far as I'm aware, this isn't like a biography or anything. I think it's just supposed to be like little vignettes, I suppose, or little short stories, or little bits from of her life. So it sounds quite good. I mean, there's just little titles like that. How to Get Over a Breakup, very appropriate. So it's just going to be little short things, as you can see. Poems, and I think it's just little things that have come to her over the time. In case you didn't know who Abigail Breslin was. I actually wasn't keen on Little Miss Sunshine, which is quite, like, everyone raves about it and I just didn't get it. Debut album? Oh well, I didn't know about that. But I'm looking forward to that. It should be a short, easy read. Probably lots of little short things that'll be quite funny. I think this next book is going to be the hard pass. I read all of the Pretty series. First book was good, but see the rest of the series, I don't know, it seemed to lose like traction the further it went on. And I think I picked this up in the charity shop, but it's Parasite Positive by Scott Westerfield. Very creepy cover. I don't know about this one. I mean, I'm a bit, because I read and didn't enjoy the, was it Pretties or was it Uglies series? But you know which one I'm talking about, right? It's either one, but I'm just not sure if I'll I'll enjoy this one because it started off so well, Pretties, and then it was just like, right, okay, where are you going with this? What are you doing with it? I don't know how to describe it, I really don't. It was such a promising series and it just went downhill fast. Then next up we have the book that I thought was actually something else. So this is Blast from the Past by Ben Elton, which I thought was going to be the novelisation of the film Blast from the Past. Now I actually have that now, so I don't know what I'm going to do with this one. It does sound interesting, but it was one of those ones, like, as soon as I read it, I knew this isn't the right book. Funnily enough, I noticed when I was moving my books along, I have another Ben Elton book on my shelf called, I think it's Time and Time Again, or Time and Again, something like that. I don't really know Ben Elton as a writer. I know him more from like the TV, I suppose. I'm not sure how this will be like my first introduction to Ben Elton writing. It'll probably be how it goes with the other book that I've got there, to see if that's any good or not. And it's still a little while away, so if this isn't good, I may just get rid of that one as well. I'm not sure, but that was the reason why I bought this book. I thought it was a novelisation of Blast from the Past, and it wasn't. And next up I have Letters from Lighthouse, Cottage by McNamara. I have a couple of her books. I'm not sure if I've actually read any of them yet, now I come to think of it. I'm just trying to check and see if I have any of hers read. I've read one of her books, which is Step Back in Time, which I actually really enjoyed. Sort of a time travel book, and it was really interesting. So I think I've got another one of her books on my shelf as well, and along with this one. So hopefully it'll be quite good. It sounds alright. I don't think it quite has the same catch as Step Back in Time did, just from reading the back of it there. It sounds like anything you can pick up from the charity shop, like one of those ten a penny authors, Katie Flynn for example, that just tell the same story over and over again. But I'll try it, I'll see what it's like. I did like Step Back in Time. The other book, which I forget the name of, is somewhere on my shelf at the moment, and hopefully that'll be good. But I'm just hoping she hasn't sold herself short, had an amazing idea for a book, and that's going to be her, you know. She's not going to have any other brilliant ideas. So next up I have a series, which I'm not sure if I'm getting in the right order now. I think it actually goes this way round, so I think it's Maestra first by L.S. Hilton. The Talented Mr. Ripley meets Gone Girl. Didn't like Gone Girl, didn't see what all the fuss was about, and I haven't read or seen The Talented Mr. Ripley. Is that a film as well? Am I right in thinking that? I can't remember what initially attracted me to this series, but I did go on to buy the rest of the series without reading the first one, which is sometimes not a good sign. That's L.S. Hilton, just in case you're wondering. So I've got the next one in the series, which is Domina. Still the same sort of cover. I'm a bit annoyed. I wish, if this is going to be good, a good series, I'll probably switch out Maestra and get the paperback of that, because the other two are in paperback. Doesn't really give you much about the storyline of this one or how it's going to continue, and it does say in one of the sort of reviews there, set to be the It book of the year. And then I got Ultima, same cover again, Out of the Works, which was in the 3 for £5 deal, as you can see. Now this was actually on the top shelf. Where my work is at the moment, I tend to get off and the bus stop is right outside the works. So if I've got time before I start in the morning, I tend to head into the works. It's normally a pretty quiet time. There's not many people in there, and this was on the top shelf. So you can imagine me trying to get this. Again, doesn't go into much detail, but at least it does say there, the Maestra is back for the last time. I'm hoping it's going to be a good series. I think it It has potential, definitely. I just need to see how the writing is, really. And next up, I have the novelisation of Hook, which is actually quite a thick novelisation considering. And this is by Terry Brooks. Never heard of that book. The Druid of Shannara. But this is based on the screenplay by Jim V. Hart and Malia Scotch Marmo, and the screen story by Jim V. Hart and Nick Castle. So this is a hardback novelisation, which I got from Amazon. I swear someone's put their name in this and then covered it up, but does that not say Michelle? Michelle Howell, possibly? Someone's tried to cover it up. So I do like Hook. I have not seen it in quite a few years though, so I may revisit it and then read this, or read this and then revisit it. I do remember liking Hook. I did think it was quite interesting, but it was quite an odd little story at the same time, because one of the books that I have that is actually a Peter Pan book, you do see what happens to Wendy and the Lost Boys and John and Michael, like once they grow up and everything, and it's quite sad. I found Wendy being old, and then Peter Pan came into the room and she said, "Oh, I'm old," and he saw like her grandchild or something like that. I haven't read that book in many, many years, but I did keep it because it kind of extended the story sort of after the ending, which was quite interesting. But I was noticing when I moved all my books along to cover up the shelf that I've got a whole host of novelisations coming up soon to see what some of those are like. I've got like The War of the Roses, Jewel of the Nile and everything, and Short Circuit. I'm looking forward to reading this one. Again, it is quite a thick book, so it should be quite in depth, I think, or maybe more in depth than normal novelisation. It's also got some colour photos there as well from the film. And then we get to the fattest book on my shelf. Good grief. I did actually, when I went away for a few days, I did take this away with me. I didn't get around to it, unfortunately, because I thought I would have read either the majority of it, but I didn't get much time for reading. I ended up reading a Charmian Carr book. You know, Liesl from Sound of Music. I read one of her books, and I read a Nora Roberts book. But this is The Summer I Turned Pretty by Jenny Han. So you've got 3 books in one here. This is a workout in itself. So you've got The Summer I Turned Pretty, It's Not Summer Without You, We'll Always Have Summer. Considering we're now halfway through September, probably should have read this a little bit earlier, but I'm not quite as OCD as some people. I don't really mind when I read certain books. Like, I have a Christmas book to review at some point, and it needs to be done within the next 30 days. And it's a Christmas book, so I'll be into October and reading a Christmas book. So it sounds quite good. I know I've got the P.S. I Still Love You and To All the Boys I've Loved Before. I think one of them is either a film or a Netflix TV show, I want to say. I'm not 100% certain now I'm saying that, but I've got those 2 coming up next as well, so hopefully they'll be good. But this book is massive. Where are the page numbers on this? 865 pages, plus some extra pages of letters, which I try not to look too closely at, but Jesus Christ! A nearly 900 page book. Nah, that'll take me a wee while. I'm not sure if any of these go in any particular order. I don't really think so. But this is To All the Boys I've Loved Before, again by Jenny Han, again with a very pretty model on the cover there. That sounds quite good. I don't think I've ever written a love letter to anyone, but I can imagine like how you'd feel if that got out. And then I've got P.S. I Still Love You. Again, very pretty model on the front. Looks like the same model. Oh, right, okay, so this is a sequel then. Yeah, comes the irresistible sequel to All the Boys I've Loved Before. So I did get them the right way round then. I didn't realise they were... Did I know if they were directly sequels or not? I'm not 100% sure. But it does sound quite good. It is an ex-library copy as well. You know I like ex-library copy books. So this came from Warwickshire County Library. It doesn't have, you know, one of those like stamp out cards. The libraries still have those. I think that's been ripped out, which is a shame because I would have liked to have seen that. I have The Last Tudor by Philippa Gregory, another heavy book, and it's a hardback as well, so it's a fairly weighty book. But I do like the raven, the crow. I think it's a raven on the front there. I'm probably completely wrong. The Last Tudor is Philippa Gregory's final novel based on the Tudor family. So it's got a very kind of old-fashioned letters, end pages there. I do like Philippa Gregory books, and I do like that they're all about the Tudor times, but I'm getting to that point where I'm not sure who people are now, and plus they're always the same names, like Mary's, Elizabeth's, so I tend to get them all a bit muddled up in my head. And then next up I have a large format paperback called Beside Myself by Anne Morgan, with this very kind of intriguing cover. Grips from the first page. Haven't heard of him and haven't heard of the book. God, it's a story about identical twins. Sounds quite creepy, doesn't it, a little bit? I mean, I'm an only child, so I don't know what it's like to be a twin or anything like that, but they do sound like a nightmare sometimes. This should be interesting. We'll see what it's like. Sounds quite creepy. Sounds like one of those ones where if you ever got pregnant with twins, you'd be like, okay then. I don't want these guys to turn out like these ones. And next up, I've got For the Love of Catherine by Carole Llewellyn. Very Welsh sounding name there, and obviously this is about the Titanic. Again, an ex-library book which I got from eBay. Still got the receipt in here, that's how I know. So it seems like this one is going to kind of start off with the Titanic and then follow on from that. The effect that it has on their lives afterwards. I don't have which library this book has come from. It does just say cancelled there. There's no and a page has been ripped out as well. Don't know why they rip out the pages. People like me want to see it. Next up, I've got I See You by Clare Mackintosh. Feel like I read another one of her books and it was just alright. It's not something I kept. It's not something I would read again, I think, anyway. But it's the right author I'm thinking of. These ones seem to be very much all over the place at the moment, these sort of kind of crimey, thrillery books. I mean, off the top of my head, like C.L. Taylor, S.K. Tremaine, Clare Mackintosh, there's at least one other that I'm thinking of. And what I'm finding with those books is that they have one brilliant idea, but then the book sort of tails off towards the end, and the other books haven't been that great either. See what this one's like. I've got Mothers and Daughters, which is, I only bought for really one book, which is the Diana Gabaldon book, or the Diana Gabaldon short story. So it's celebrating the gift of love with 12 new stories. We've got Eileen Drea, Elizabeth Engstrom, Joy Fielding, Diana Gabaldon, Eileen Gouge, Kristen Hanna, Wendy Hornsby, J.A. Jans, Faye Kellerman, Anne McCaffrey, Debbie McComber and Joan Lowry Nixon. Now I've heard of Debbie McComber, I've never read any of her books. I've heard of Kristen Hanna, I don't think I've read any of her books, and definitely heard of Diana Gabaldon. Oh right, okay then, so it's not what I was thinking of at all, so it's famous mothers and their daughters. So you've got Mothers and Young Daughters, you've got Joan Lowry Nixon in that one, Joy Fielding, Debbie McComber, J.A. Jans, Faye Kellerman and Eileen Gouge. Then part 2 you've got Mothers and Grown Daughters, so you've got Eileen Drea, Wendy Hornsby. Then you've got Diana Gabaldon, Elizabeth Engstrom, Anne McCaffrey and Kristen Hanna, and then you've got about the authors there. So it's not a long book, it's about 225 pages or thereabouts. I think this has been round my shelf already once. I think it's been circling, so I'll try and get this read. I really only bought it for Diana Gabaldon, that's the author I really know, so I'm not sure how the rest of it'll be. I've got It Started With a Tweet by Annabelle. Sounds quite good. Sounds like it could be quite interesting because I know myself, like, a lot of the time I'm on my phone or watching YouTube or doing this. But I think I'd manage in a digital detox quite well as long as you gave me a book or books. Next up we have Alex Approximately by Jean Bennett. This sounds quite interesting. It's not the book I was thinking of when I saw the title for some reason, but it does sound quite intriguing. Sounds quite predictable as well. I mean, I can already tell what I think is going to happen just from reading that blurb there. I don't remember why I bought this. Pretty much standard, isn't it, with me? I've got Night Music by Jojo Moyes. Now, I find Jojo Moyes very hit and miss. I love, obviously, I love the Me Before You series. Like, it's right there on the cover, Michelle. I really need to try looking at the camera. I loved that series. A couple of other books I've liked of hers, but there was one, I think it was The Horse Dancer. I wasn't keen on that one. I don't know what it is. Sometimes she grabs you straight away. Other times it's just she doesn't grab you at all. If you liked Chocolat by Joanne Harris, I have to say I tried that, didn't like it. My dad has a lot of Joanne Harris books. I tried it, just could not get into it. So I'm not sure if that's supposed to be a good comparison of what. Then we have The Secret of Happy Ever After by Lucy Dillon. I have another one of her books on my wish list, I'm pretty sure, and just cannot get a cheap enough copy for love nor money, but a nice little cover there. Even Anna's best friend Michelle, who categorically doesn't believe in true love and handsome princes. Maybe it's not that author I'm thinking of, but there's definitely a book. I feel like it's by Lucy Dillon that's on my wish list, and it's just weirdly expensive. I've got The Liverpool Match Girl by Lynn Andrews. You know, these books tend to go around on my shelves quite often. I do like all of them. I have pretty much all of them now, as far as I'm aware. They're easy to read. There's not that much that you can really say about them. I've been reading them since I was quite young, maybe in my teens or something like that. They started off in my mum's bookcase and then they all migrated across to mine because I kept buying them. From the author of over 30 wonderful Merseyside sagas. Yeah, don't I know it? They're taking up an entire shelf. And next up, I have this very old, very odd looking book. And this is The Blue Lagoon. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce that name there. But obviously this is the book of which the film is based on. Weirdly enough, it doesn't seem to have a blurb. It's got a kind of short biography about the author. I did like the film. I've only seen it like maybe once or twice, and I've only seen it like fairly recently. It wasn't a film that I'd watched as a child or anything. But it does seem to have quite relatively short chapters, I would say. They do kind of vary in length. So I'll see what that's like, but I mean, there's nothing on the back cover either. It's just the same as on the front cover there. So then we have Everything I Know About Love I Learned from Romance Novels by Sarah Wendell, I think it is. So it's just a little sort of soft, I can't remember what you call these books, they're kind of not quite hardbacks, but not quite paperbacks, like soft covers maybe, something like that. So it is quite a thin novel. Won't take long to read. But it was one that I ended up buying because, oh, Nora Roberts features in it as well. Of course she does. Probably another one that featured in that previous book as well is Jackie Collins. I have, as far as I'm aware, one of the last books of hers that I haven't read yet, which is called The Love Killers. Obviously this is going to be quite sad because she has now died. I do like her books. I don't find them particularly memorable. I do like all the Lucky Santangelo stories, like they are all brilliant. Some of the other ones can be a little bit hit and miss. I think I still have maybe one more of her books on my shelf somewhere that I still haven't read, but I'm going to try and read this one and see what it's like. It does sound like typical, stereotypical Jackie Collins fashion, doesn't it? Well, we're down to the last two books. I've got Dear Me, A Letter to My 16-Year-Old Self, which is just different people writing letters to themselves, what they wish they knew at 16, what they wish they could do, like what will be different. So you've got Paul O'Grady, Emma Thompson, Yoko Ono, Liz Smith, Peter Kay, Alan Carr, Stephen Fry, Jackie Collins, Annie Lennox, Jonathan Ross, Joanna Lumley, Faye Weldon, Brenda Blethyn, Linda LaPlante, Will Young. Well, that dates it quite a bit, doesn't it? So you've also got, I think these are going to be quite short because the book's quite short. But you've got Hayley Mills, Kim Wilde, Jane Fonda, Patsy Kensit, Anne Reid, Jeremy Bowen. Who the hell is Jeremy Bowen? I know Jim Bowen. But I think that'll be quite funny. It's got photos dotted throughout as well of each person, I suppose. Hayley Mills there. Some of them are quite short, as you can see. And then last but not least, we've got Grave Witch by Catalina Price. I want to add a T in there. I was trying desperately to go Catalina, but it's not Catalina, it's Catalina Price. I think that's how you say her name. Not even death can save her now. I do like that cover art though, it's really good. So that sounds quite a good book. I'm looking forward to reading that one. I think it was bought used because the spine is quite creased, as you can see there. But it does sound quite interesting. Kind of, not directly, but it does remind me a lot of the Dorinda Jones First Grave on the Right and everything. All that series, which I think we're up to book 13 now. I haven't read the last couple yet. But that is all this book, this month's currently reading shelf. My battery is just about to die. I've managed this with just one battery, so I'm going to end it here, guys. Really hope you've enjoyed this. Everything's down below as usual, and I hope your day is good and it involves a very good book. I will see you guys again soon. Bye for now.